Welcome to Innovate for Impact, an informative mini-series brought to you by Tania Gomez Consulting. In this series, we embark on a journey to explore the remarkable innovations that are shaping the landscape of the NDIS for a more inclusive future. Join us as we uncover inspiring stories of visionary individuals, organisations and technologies that are revolutionising the way we approach disabilities. And welcome to Innovate for Impact. Today I am speaking to Dr. Paul from Aussie Ergonomics. Hi, Dr. Paul, and welcome to Innovate for Impact. It's so lovely to have you with us today.
Hello, Tania. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. So I'm really keen to know more about the amazing work you're doing, but for everyone listening, I might just quickly read out your very impressive bio so that there's a little bit of context. So Dr. Gunther Paul has been working as an ergonomist in industry and academia for over 30 years, providing innovation and leadership to the profession. He has held significant positions at Ford Motor Company, Mercedes-Benz, and 5 major world-leading universities. He's an expert in ergonomics, occupational health and safety, system design and management, product design and evaluation, and rehabilitation engineering. Dr. Paul is a director of Aussie Ergonomics Proprietary Limited, which he founded in 2020, and is an adjunct associate professor at James Cook University. He's a member of the Standards Australia Committee in ME064, Access for People with Disability, which produces and maintains the ASNZS 1428 standard series. Wow, very impressive background there, Dr. Paul.
Thank you.
So I guess I'm really interested to start with about the work you do at Aussie Ergonomics. Can you walk us through what it is you do?
So as a background, the NDIS spectrum is principally divided into service providers and assistive technology providers. Common service providers would be occupational therapists and social workers, and common assistive technology providers are a small number of very large supermarket-size outlets that sell systems which support NDIS participants in their daily life. So please don't get me wrong. Not every NDIS participant needs assistive technology, but many do, and it would help almost everybody in finding more comfort and safety. And I want to stress this applies to both disability hemispheres of cognitive disability and physical disability. Good analog can be found in the medical world. So while general practitioners provide a medical service, one must go to a pharmacy to get medicine. And Aussie Ergonomics is a rehabilitation engineering company based on ergonomics principles and science. And this is unique in Australia by combining these two sectors, service and assistive technology. You could say we're a bit like the good old family doctor, GP in ancient times, who would see the patient somewhere out on their farm and bring along the usual medicine coffer. However, while basing our business on a very traditional service delivery model, we're different because we join a conventional customer-oriented business practice with advanced state-of-the-art scientific methods. I will elaborate on these methods later. At Aussie Ergonomics, we currently provide services to patients across central and northern Queensland. From Bundaberg in the south to Collinsville in the west, Townsville in the north. So these services involve ergonomic assessments, measurements, technology support services, provision of assistive technology, custom design of supports, and manufacture of custom-made wheelchair cushions and seatbacks. Now, you will not be familiar with what is an ergonomic assessment, so please let me explain this a bit further. Ergonomics is a science that studies and optimizes the interface between human users and an interface. So an interface between the operator and a technical system. For our services, this means we investigate the living environment and the working environment of our customers. We consider the most significant objects that our customers interact with during the normal daily activities. That could be wheelchairs or armchairs, lounges, beds, desks, any computers or controls. We assess any issues, record customer perceptions, take precision measurements in areas of concern. And based on all this data, we decide on which assistive technology we must provide or design and manufacture. Now, to illustrate this, we had a patient whose hip width was too large for their wheelchair, with causing a poor posture, pain, and pressure sores. And a new wider wheelchair was neither available off the shelf nor had it been commercially viable. So to solve the problem, we designed and machined aluminum extensions to widen the wheelchair and fit it to the patient. Now that's a bit about Aussie Ergonomics.
Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was great. And can you tell me a little bit about your background story and I suppose how you ended up in the NDIS space? And also, like, I'd never heard of an ergonomist before. How did you end up as an ergonomist?
Yes, it's a long story, Tania. I hope you have some time. So after 2 years of military service, I studied a Bachelor of Electrical Engineering and later received a Master in Control Engineering. So control engineering is more of a combination of electrical engineering with mechanical engineering or chemical engineering. And eventually I took a subject in a group of choice subjects, and that was ergonomics, and I had no idea what it was, just like you. I did not have a clue, and after a year of taking the subject, I was convinced this was my life. So I ended up with being offered a position, and I got a PhD in ergonomics after 5 years of PhD studies. I was then invited to work for Ford Motor Company, where I led the occupant comfort area as a research and development specialist in the European Product Development Center. During this time, I collaborated with Ford's own industry-leading occupational health department. So their occupational health manager actually wrote the book, which is the basis for teaching occupational health in German universities. And with universities across Europe, I collaborated so that my work became more widely known. I believe it was probably for this reason that a representative from the German Decubitus, which is Pressure Ulcer Society, contacted me and asked for a meeting. Well, that's where it started. So this encounter changed my perspective on seated comfort. I became aware that seated comfort was not just simply about pleasing a customer, but that seated comfort was a deadly serious matter for many wheelchair-bound patients. And my first computer-aided design-based wheelchair designs evolved in the Ford product development system. So I moved on in my life, was invited to work as a research manager for a very large French automotive supplier in Paris. Finally ended up working for Daimler, Mercedes-Benz back in Germany. But I never forgot about this encounter. And from Daimler, I was invited by the University of South Australia to move to Adelaide, where I set up a research lab and group for automotive ergonomics. So automotive ergonomics, those are really the people who design vehicles' interiors and make sure a customer can get into the vehicle, sits comfortably in the vehicle, can safely drive the vehicle, and gets out of the vehicle again. Now, with the downturn of the automotive industry in Australia, this contract ended, and I accepted a position at QUT in Brisbane, so Queensland University of Technology, to teach occupational health and safety subjects to postgraduate students, eventually leading their health and safety discipline. And after 6 years of teaching, I returned to research and accepted a position as a Principal Research Fellow Occupational Health and Safety at James Cook University in Mackay, where James Cook University and Queensland Health had contemplated to establish a new joint research institute at the Mackay Base Hospital. This research institute unfortunately never evolved, and after 5 years with JCU, I had the choice to continue my academic career with another university or just change direction in my life and do something different. And that's when I decided I would finally follow the lead of the impression from Ford times, almost 20 years ago, and work towards improving the lives of disabled people. I founded Aussie Ergonomics in 2020, and I've also been a representative of the Human Factors and Ergonomics Society of Australia on the Standards Australia Disability Access Committee since 2020, and you've mentioned this already.
Amazing. Great. And I know that recently you have won the Australian Disability Services Award for Best Regional and Remote Provider. What is it that you think you do differently than other providers that has led to you winning this prestigious award?
I'm not sure. First place, I did not think that we would win. There were great contenders, each one more than worthy. I believe we provide a unique service, special by its very nature, because it's a holistic approach, or I also call it a one-stop shop approach. We also combine the service with high-tech, such as advanced pressure mapping, 3D scanning, 3D motion and posture capture, computer modeling, force deflection, indented testing of foam-based components. So a range of different high-tech technologies. We also locally manufacture very high-quality products, such as customized wheelchair cushions, which are TGA certified as medical devices and ARTG registered, so Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods. And then we offer the convenience of a home-delivered service without the need of having to organize complex trips to the cities, which often impose significant stress, complex organization, cost to participants and the system. And sometimes they end up being hugely disappointing. So we come to our patients. All our systems are mobile, and we always assess participants in the comfort of their home.
Wonderful. Amazing. Now, I like to talk about innovation as something that's solving a problem. And so I'm wondering, is there a problem that you're solving with Aussie Ergonomics, and what's your approach to solving that problem?
There are many problems. One big problem, in our view, is the disconnect between service providers and assistive technology providers. So service providers see and know the patient, but often lack knowledge and understanding of assistive devices. Most importantly, they have very limited access to assistive technology in the regions. Assistive technology providers do not see or know the patient, and they're mostly too large as an organization to offer the required level of detailed attention. Aussie Ergonomics thus brings together those two, and additionally offers practitioners a fully transparent and accessible online e-commerce system. So everybody can look at our system online and order assistive technology. And this applies to practitioners and patients. Another large problem is the lack of innovation and evidence-based practice in the regions. And this lack of evidence-based practice also extends across the disability sector in general, I would say. Some assumptions that are taught have never been properly scrutinized, and it's really colorful marketing materials that sometimes dominate perceptions and make people believe in the usefulness of assistive technology. So our approach is always based on measurements and data and that is both subjective and objective. And thus we overcome common misperceptions of an entirely experience or assumption-based service. So I think that is a very significant problem.
And what kind of benefits have you seen since having Aussie Ergonomics in solving some of these problems?
Well, we've seen great improvements in results compared to off-the-shelf wheelchair cushions and pressure management solutions. So widely prescribed by allied health practitioners. Not even one of our patients with a history and complaints of pressure sores has experienced pressure discomfort on one of our customized cushions. So we're very happy with this outcome. And we've also provided solutions to patients within 4 to 6 weeks. And those are patients who had been suffering and sometimes been left alone by health practitioners for years. So we've had patients who've been waiting for 2 or 3 years to receive help. And in some cases, we were contacted by collaborating OTs asking for our specialized cushions, and we have not disappointed once. The benefit that I see is the benefit for all those we have helped and who could not be helped by others, really. So that's probably the biggest benefit to mention.
What are the challenges to your approach?
Well, we face many challenges. Huge challenge is our small size and the fact that we cannot invest into marketing while we invest into technology and innovation. So both together is impossible for small companies like us. Some people refer to this as the valley of death for a small startup company that is based on innovation. And then we oppose common industry practices and frameworks, and that's a big issue. So most OTs consider us as disruptive in competition and will not collaborate or refer patients even when there's a dire need. Many assistive technology providers, including our local ones, will not or only very reluctantly sell us their products if we inquire. So, that is a big problem for us. And thirdly, our evidence-based approach, that is data, contradicts solutions advised by universities and accepted by Queensland Health. And the system is unwilling to engage in a scientific discussion about this. So you can see enough of a few sleepless nights for me.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think other people in the NDIS space can look at your model and use what you're doing as inspiration for them to, solve their own problems in the space? Is there lessons that you've learned along the way? Is there things that we can apply to others trying to innovate in the space?
Well, I'll be very brief on this, Tania. In the first instance, we'd be happy to roll out our model to other allied health providers, such as occupational therapists or the tertiary health care systems. And we've approached other providers repeatedly, and we continue to promote rolling out our model. And we're very open to various types of collaboration, and so that might be working with other health service providers or working with hospitals. It could be that we may have systems that other providers cannot afford. So, we work with a pressure mapping system that costs a lot of money and a 3D scanning system that costs a lot of money, and not everybody can afford to buy this. If they don't have the expertise, they may have to hire an expert for operating these systems. So it's not affordable for everybody. We're happy to offer our technology to other providers. So that might be great for them to have access to our tools. But essentially we believe that all healthcare should be evidence-based, and that's what we're promoting.
Mm. And you've talked about some of the challenges for you as a business. Are there extra challenges that come from being a NDIS provider as such, or are they more of the challenges we've already discussed?
Well, we all know that NDIS comes with a cost, and clearly the cost of registering and managing this NDIS registration drives cost in the system. And that's just a natural effect of working within a larger controlled system. And I think this really can't be avoided, so we just have to accept this. Um, but NDS constitutes a very large and complex industry framework. And unfortunately, that favors large providers for obvious reasons that I do not need to explain. And we've come across participants who have been very poorly serviced by NDS providers without any repercussions for those providers. Um, so such experiences cause mistrust and fear in participants, and they really hamper our service delivery because people are initially reluctant to engage with a new provider because that is based on their poor experience. So something we would like the system to look at and potentially exercise more governance in the system.
Yeah, wonderful. I agree. I agree with that. I think it's a challenging landscape when you have unregistered providers and registered providers, and you have varying different requirements for different providers. And the NDIS is really hard to navigate anyway. I think that there was a research study done that said to navigate the NDIS as an NDIS participant, you would need to have a master's degree or higher based on the AQF levels of the language used in the application. And I can only imagine that it's the same for providers. The level of literature and the level the documentation is written at would have to be requiring a master's degree or higher. It's quite
Yeah. You've mentioned my academic credentials, and it took me months and months to register, and nobody could help us because there was a mismatch data glitch between NDIS and NDIA, and nobody would understand what was going on. But normally we should have been registered, but the data was not properly transferred to NDIA. We weren't registered. Eventually, it took us half a year to get the registration done, although we had done absolutely everything at our end. So it was not our problem. It was the problem that NDIS, and we couldn't talk to NDIA, but NDIS stopped talking to us because they needed help from NDIA. They said there's a problem at the NDIA end, and NDIA didn't answer their questions, so they stopped talking to us because it was a bit shameful for them. So for half a year, pretty much nothing happened. It was stressful, and I can't imagine some others managing those challenges. And I see how difficult it is for participants. So absolutely, I clearly see the outcome of the study.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. What kind of innovation would you like to see in this space to overcome some of these challenges as an NGOs provider?
Well, if it comes to innovation within the NEA system, we kind of have mentioned this. We believe the Disability Royal Commission is the right way forward. So we would like to see tighter governance in the NDIS system, in the sphere, more stringent action by the NDIS Quality Safeguards Commission to sort out the black sheep. And we would like to see more support for innovation. And that would really support small and potentially medium-sized innovative providers. as we're an essential element in the system. Currently, we don't really see any support at all for small companies. As I mentioned before, the system is geared towards very large providers. And there's already been, like we see in retail with Coles and Woolies, there's a bit of a concentration going on in NDIS as well. And the more time passes, the more we see that this concentration worsens for small providers.
Yeah. Yes, it's an interesting point around small and medium businesses and how we support them because, the majority of providers are small and medium businesses, but they do make up a small number of the actual funds, I guess the percentage of funds delivered to people with disability. I'm really interested in what's next for you at Aussie Ergonomics. Where do you see your organisation in the future?
Well, we've repeatedly been told about seating discomfort and pressure sore issues in aged care facilities. So we gave presentations to social organizations here in the region, and we've been approached by aged care facility managers who said, you're talking about NDIS, but we've got the same problem in aged care. And incidentally, we saw one patient in a premium aged care facility where we did not expect to come across a pressure sore, and certainly not a severe stage 2 pressure sore. And so that's an area where we'd like to expand, and hopefully in collaboration with an aged care provider such as Uniting Care. So while there appears to be significant demand in aged care, establishments don't really make it easy for us. And the public health system does not support us either. So they do not collaborate with small, innovative providers. And interestingly, the same applies to the Department of Veteran Affairs. So obviously, we've approached those systems, and every time we've been told that they would only collaborate with very large providers, and they said, contact the very large providers and become a subcontractor to the very large provider. And that sounds very good. It sounds very reasonable, but every time we contacted those very large providers, we didn't receive a reply. So, we contacted them again and again, did not receive a reply. And sometimes we walk to organizations and try to talk to them in person. And somebody stops us at the door and says, yes, very interesting. Please leave your business card at the door. We'll get back to you. And nobody ever gets back to us. So there are many disabled people who are unable to receive our help unless they can pay out of pocket, because public systems exclude the small, proficient and innovative provider. So we hope that these restrictive policies will change someday for the benefit of all. And in NDIS, Aussie Ergonomics is seeking to expand our services across the nation, so we can offer our solutions to all Australians. And as I mentioned, it is pretty easy to access our online e-commerce system, and it can be accessed from WA as much as Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane. So this is not just a regions-based service, and we can provide our cushions to every participant in Australia.
Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing you definitely delivering across Australia. That sounds like an amazing goal for Aussie Ergonomics. If there's other providers who want to reach out to you to discuss your solutions or your business or your cushions, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yes, so please get in contact with us. We love to be contacted by other providers. We enjoy suggestions, ideas, proposals, or even just a chat with other companies. And we always learn a lot from every time another company contacts us. So the best way to reach us obviously is by email. You can use our contact form on the website, or you can send an email to info@aussieergonomics.com.au. And this will be the best way to arrange for a convenient time for a phone or Zoom call, and then we can go from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Paul. It was so lovely to meet you and to hear about all of the great work you're doing at Aussie Ergonomics.
Great talking to you. Thank you very much for having me, Tania.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another enlightening episode of Innovate for Impact. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking conversations and innovative ideas that drive positive change within the NDIS space. Remember, together we're shaping a future where innovation and impact go hand in hand.